Hi, all right. Today I'm going to do a quick introduction video about one. I'm mostly going to be setting up a basic inventory sheet or an inventory so you can your player can collect items during the game and they can check their inventory. Um, but before I start that, I'm also going to add a little bit into the style sheet. I like to do this just so we can have it look a particular way. So I'll make that part rather quick because there's already another video that does that. So if I'm going to set up my style sheet first, I have to go up to Story here and go to Style Sheet. Again, I'm going to run through this a little bit quickly just because this has been done in other videos, but I will explain it. So what I want to do when I go into Style Sheet is everything I put in here is going to affect every panel. And one of the first things that I like to do is get the look of my panels, both the background color, the font color, the link colors, a way, that kind of fits what I think looks good and what players will appreciate. The black background with the white font and the font style it's okay, and it's sufficient. But sometimes it's a little nicer just to have some simple things. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do Twine story here. And so this is going to affect the background, or I'm going to type in what parts of the story that I want affected. So as part of my Twine story, I can choose a background color. I've already chosen one. I don't want to go through this. This is part of another video here. You can go to any font, HTML or font color wheel, and find the font that you want, and just make sure that you copy the 6-digit code with the hashtag in front of it. And so that's the font that I've chosen for my background colors. Kind of soft and easy to look at. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change or use a different font family. The standard one is okay. Not my favorite though. And one I kind of like that's, again, easy. There's lots of easy ones on your eye. Is this Josephine Sans. And I'm just going to make sure that it is sans serif. I'm going to put that in there. Now the thing with this particular font is it's not part of the system. There are fonts that are, and so I had to go to fonts.google, and you can go there. Maybe I'll make another video that shows how to do that. And I've already copied the import embed code here. And what it's going to do is this is going to allow the Josephine's font to be imported and then used by Twine. Again, that's another thing, but you can go to fonts.google, and there's thousands of fonts to choose from, and there's other sites you could do that from too. The next thing I'm going to do is change the color of the set of the font. Instead of it being white. White is the standard with the black background. Whoops. And so I've already pre-selected one too that I have here, and that's what I'm going to choose. And then I'm going to close it out with a bracket. And so what I've done with my Twine stories, I've changed the background color, I've changed the font and imported it, and I've changed the color of the font itself. All right. Now something else I like to do, and you can do this, is just like doing it with the font itself, is I can change what the link looks like. So usually the link will light up like a bright blue, and you can change that also. And so TW link is the way to do that, and I'm just going to change the color. So I'm typing in color. I've pre-selected one here to make this a little quicker, because this is not the primary function of the video, but I want people to, have a good sense of having a game at least looks a little bit like they've created something that is more pleasing to themselves and that they like. And so now I've changed the link. I could also change, if it does get clicked and those sorts of things, but I'm not going to do that. I think the last thing I'm going to do here, what I typically do, but this depends on what you want in your game, and there's other ways to bring people back, is manage the sidebar a little bit. You could do different things with the sidebar. All I'm going to do here is change the display, and I'm going to put none. And what this is, usually have the back arrow and the forward arrow on the left-hand side. That's your sidebar over there. And I'm just taking the display and I'm saying don't display anything. So I'm saying, hey, let's not have a back and forward arrow so the players in my game can't go backward and forward. I'm going to determine whether they can or not. Maybe sometimes they can, maybe sometimes they cannot. So if we want to test this out, I can go to, because this is my style sheet, I can go to my first passage here. Whatever I'm going to call this, I don't know yet. And I'll type in, you are walking around and you find a wallet. No, and you're just walking around. How's that? You're walking around. Bam. All right. So what we can do now is go to build, and we can just do a play or a test and see if my choices worked. There they are. Okay. That's what I picked. So there's my font, Josephine Sans, my background color, and I changed the color of this a little bit. And you can see it looks different than your typical Twine standard in Harlow. And I'm doing this all in Harlow. I suppose I should have mentioned that first. So we have that. That seems okay. I'm happy enough with that. There's no back or forward arrow button. Now I can start building my inventory system. All right, so I'm going to close my style sheet up here. And to create my inventory system, there's a few things that I need or I will want to do. So the first thing that I need to do is, or I'm going to do, is I'm going to create a new passage. So I go up to passage, I do new, and this is going to be my footer. So I'm going to create a footer. So the footer will create a space where below whatever I've typed in, so you're walking around, it'll create a line. I'll make a thing for a line. And it'll create a space just like on a Word or Google document, create a footer down below it. I could create a header too. I just like the way a footer looks in this. And so I'm going to call this footer so I know what it is. I also like to tag this in case and I'll tag it footer in case I want to do anything with it later. And there it is. Whoops, I used the wrong one because that's not the one I wanted. So let's take that away. I put that as my beginning passage. I don't want that as my beginning passage. I will just type begin. Okay, we'll change that. I need to make sure I'm clicked on the right passage. So let's go to the untitled passage here. I'll close this so we can see this up ahead. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my fingers are in the right place, is create a header. Or not a header, but a tag here so I get that line. So that's going to be my line that's going to appear below whatever I've typed in my passage. Okay. So I've decided that this player is going to be, I don't know, I think they're going to have pockets or something like that. This is going to be, let me do this here. This will be the footer. And now I'll tag this how I want it tagged. New tag, footer, color, green. I like green for my footers. I feel like they're part of the feet. I don't know. And so now I can do a couple things here. I'm going to do this one simple. So I'm going to create an if passage, if condition, and I'm going to say if passages, passages name is, I guess we'll call it pockets. Okay, I have that right. Pockets. And I'm doing this also to show you something. Now what I can do is, the idea is if it's pockets, if I'm calling my a particular anything pockets, I can always have something appear. So this happens in any case where after you create a condition here, you can have words appear. But I'm going to have, you can also have it set where you do nothing. Typing in do nothing is a reminder of what I'm doing here and setting this aside. And now it knows don't do anything. So if pockets is, the passage name is pockets, it's not going to do anything. So I might get somewhere where, I don't know, something happens, I don't want to do it. I can create an else if condition, but I'm just going to do else. So if it's not that, then the condition is that it's going to be not pockets. I don't know why I chose pockets. And I'm going to say, then, if it's other than that, maybe I shouldn't use pockets. Maybe I should use a different term here. Because I'm going to say, I'll say check, we'll just say check inventory. Might be the simplest way to do this. Check items. How's that? Check items, things that you've collected. And so now what I've done is, because I have the double brackets around items, I've created a situation where it's gonna, you can see down here, it populated, created a new passage called items. And what's going to appear are the things outside this. So check items is going to appear. And then the individual could click on that items, and that's what would show up to them. Okay. So that's pretty simple. And then what I need to do is go into my items and what are they going to see? Because if they click check items, and that's part of the footer, actually I'm going to put, if the name of the passage is begin, because on the first page, they're not going to have any items. So on the first page, there's not going to be an inventory. Okay, so I name that begin, and we don't have anything. It's not doing anything yet. It's got the rocket ship here, so we know it's a start. So now, and we'll show how this works, is the footer will appear in additional passages, and if it's not begin, which I won't call it begin again, they'll be able to check items, and then I need to do something with items so they know, it knows what to call to. So I'm going to do, I could do a bigger heading. So if I do, these are just headings, and I can make it say something. And so I'll call this will say, we'll do it all caps. Well, it's already big, so we don't need to do it all caps. We'll say items. That's not items, if I can spell it. Items is the word that's going to appear in this double header. Whoops. This is what? H header 2, I said. Bam. Okay, so that's what's going to appear. Items. And then how's it going to know what to call to? Okay. It's going to call to the things that I create. So real quick, I'm going to go to my begin passage. I'm walking around. So I actually have to create some inventory things for it to call to. So usually in my first passage, which is begin, I'm going to set up, I'm going to create a variable here, and I'm creating the variable in, which is, for me, short for inventory. You can call this whatever you want, like variables, you can call whatever you want, but you want to use terms that you remember and come back to. And I'm going to set my inventory to, what I'm going to do is create first an array. So an array is going to be a collection of things. Notice my array is in parentheses, and my whole set condition is in parentheses. So make sure you have that double closing in both the array and the set there. And I'm going to create two different ways or terms to create inventories. I could make a double array with a different variable if I wanted. But I'm just going to do set again, because I'm going to have them collect items in different places for whatever reason. I'm going to call this in2, so inventory 2. Again, you can call it what you want. I like to use shorter terms so it's easier to remember. And here I'm going to use this I think it's a display set, as another way to collect items. Just is showing you different ways to do that. I could also type out array, if I could spell, but A is just as easy. All right. So A is short for array. In this data set, that's what it's short for here. So different ways to collect things. So what I've done in my begin set, which is not going to have any footer because I told it not to, I've put these at the top. So I have now created the conditions where I have a variable, both that are one that's array, another that's a data set, that are places to collect items. All right. I haven't collected anything yet. I'm just creating the conditions to collect things. So now I can go back into my my item set, because if later on when I do check for items, it's going to call to it and see what's there, but I have to give it the conditions to know what to look for. So I'm going to say if, we'll use inventory first, and that's my first one. Inventory's length is less than 0, or greater than 0, sorry, greater than 0. I just have to make sure I'm pressing the right buttons. Then it's going to display your, let's say in this case, when I say items, your pockets, I'll use pockets here, your stuff and things, your pocket, or we'll say pockets. I just make sure I use the same terminology. Your pockets contain the language here depends on how we want it to run. I'll just say this. They're going to contain inventory. Okay. And I can close that off, and there it is. So if it's if your pockets are greater, if your inventory's length is greater than 0, so it has something, then what's going to happen is it's going to display this. It's going to say your pockets contain, and then it's going to list anything that I've picked up, the variable that's attached to it. Okay, and I'll show you how we get there. What about you don't have anything? That's the else condition. Okay, else meaning that you have nothing, right? You're either less than 0 or you're at 0. So if you're at 0, then we'll say your pockets are empty. So that's what's going to display, because anything that appears in these brackets is the sentence that's going to appear. But I've created two different variables, an array. The inventory is part of an array. Inventory 2 is part of a data set. So I'm going to do the same thing here, and I'm going to go if, I think, what did I say? Inventory 2's length greater than 0, then what? Well, I'm going to say, this time I have less than 0, so I have something. Let's say your purse contains whatever in your inventory 2. Okay, and I'll do the same thing here. Create the else condition. If you have not greater than 0, meaning you have 0, then it's just going to say your, what do we say, purse is empty. We can say whatever we want here, all sorts of things. Then I'm going to give so it's going to check both the inventory 2 or in and inv2, and see what's in there. And if there's nothing, it's going to be empty. And if it's something, it should list what we've picked up. And down here you can see in begin, we've created those variables. So it's going to call to those variables and check whether we have added anything to those. And we'll get to how to add those. But I'm also going to, I'm going to give the players a chance to go back. I don't want them getting stuck in inventory. So you can type whatever word you want to appear. The common term is return, but you could put something like pick your head up or whatever you wanted. Return to what? I use often history's, history's last, which means it'll just go back to the prior passage that you were at. So wherever you came from, if you pick something up and then you checked your inventory, you'd go to your inventory page, and then this would just take you back to the last passage you were at before you came to the items page, which you could call this inventory, whatever you wanted. And notice again, history's here in its parentheses, and the whole set is in parentheses, so double there. I'll just make sure you have that. So now I have the conditions where I have created my footer that has, it's going to give the option at the bottom to check items. I have created my variables in an array and a data set to collect things. And I have the panel now which will display the things that you've picked up and give a chance to go back. But I don't have anything yet. So I'm going to close these, and I'm going to have to do something here. What shall I do? You're walking around, and let's say you're walking around and you see a, I'll give an option here, whoops, a wallet and some money, we'll make that a passage, money on the ground. Okay, now I've got a sentence, I've got created two panels over here. Let's get these over here, we can see it. These are my footers, and this is my game here. I'll stretch it out. It's getting hidden behind here, so I created a wallet. Let me move this over, and then we'll go back, and then we have that. Okay, so I have that. So now I've created my two panels here. And let's say I'm going to, here's the wallet, okay? And I'll say you decide to pick up the wallet and look inside. You find a, let's say I was going to create another passage, a photo and a driver's license. We won't make it too onerous where you, driver's license. Maybe you can return it. You know who this person is, and names on it or something like that. So now what I want to do is I've collected something. I have a wallet. I technically have a photo and a driver's license. I could add that to the inventory too. Why don't we well, we haven't looked at those yet, so I'll come to that. So then what I would do is I would have to now create a situation where I have these things. I'm going to do it at the top because you picked it up, so now you have the wallet. So I'll put that up top, so the collection has happened. And we're going to use the inventory, and I'll set inventory to inventory, which means, because sometimes in the game you're collecting lots of things over time, and you don't want to keep track of this, and so the game is keeping track of it. So set it to whatever you have already collected. Plus the wallet in this case. Now I'm setting it to the array. I'm adding it to the array. Now technically there's nothing in there, but now what I'm going to do here is show you something. I'm going to do when you collect something, it's in quotation marks, and I'm going to put a space there. And the reason why I put a space there, it's going to give a little gap then between you have this. Otherwise, it'll be really close together. So you give this little gap there, and you have a wallet. And that's all we have right now. And it lights up, and it's like, yeah, you have a wallet. I don't know if that's good or bad yet. So we have that. And then what I'm going to do, I'm in the wallet. I'm not going to worry about money right now. I'm going to go to the photo panel and just say, the photo looks like a neighbor you have seen around town. I don't know. Making stuff up as I go. So in this case, this may make more sense here. Is I'm going to set inventory because I'm going to say this is part of the same situation because it's in the wallet. So save inventory to inventory, which includes a wallet now. And the photo looks like a neighbor you've seen around town. And I'll say you also see a coupon for peanut butter. Right, so I'm just making up some stuff so we can have more things in our wallet. So plus, set inventory to inventory, plus. So I'm going to add that to the array. And here's where the space really matters between the quotation mark and here. So what did I say? I said photo. I have a photo, quotation mark, comma, do another space. This one. And then I'll do a quotation mark, space there, because now that's going to gap the comma to the next one. Otherwise, they'll bleed together. But I say photo and coupon. Bam. And that's it. So I have those things now. Hopefully. I've done everything right. And so we can check this. We can do a little test. We can run it as a test, or we can run it as a playthrough. We'll go to build, and we have test here, which... Test shows you all the, we'll do a test so we can see all the different things. So here's our test. You're walking around and you see a wallet and some money on the ground. So I didn't make anything for here. So we'll go to wallet, and you can see down in my test case, I have my variables, 2 variables. No errors, that's great. I have an empty array and an empty data set. So I'll go to the wallet. Okay. So now what I have is, oops, I made a mistake. It's always fun when you make a mistake. Set wallet to, let's go back. Where did I type something in wrong? Boom, 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 boom. This is on the wallet page, right? Haha. Look at this. Bam. I forgot my second parenthetical. I also forgot it down here. There you go. So it's good to do the run through now. I mentioned this before that I shouldn't do that, but I tend to do that sometimes. So let's do another test. We'll do a test from the beginning. Test. All right. We're good. We have a wallet. You decide to pick up the wallet. So now there's not that problem. It was just one parentheses, and that happens a lot, just one little thing out of place. And you can see inventories first. I now have a wallet. Okay, so I had to pick up the wallet and look inside. You find a photo and driver's license. But I also have my footer down here. I can check my items. So I'm going to check my items. Items. Your pocket contain, I should have said contains. Contains, I'll have to change that. Contains a wallet. I could do that too. Your purse is empty. So that's my inventory of my data set. You can see down here there's nothing in there. The string of the array has wallet. And I can return here. Now, what I should do is we see here in items, it gives me a chance to check items again. And in the, oops, let's close some of these. If passage's name is items, that's going to make it look a lot better because now it won't have that thing at the bottom. So we test it again. We go to wallet and we check our items. A lot cleaner down here, right? So if the case is that right here, if the passage's name is items, which is what I called the place where I'm storing things below my footer, I'm not going to have it do a check items things. I don't want that because you're already there checking the items and it looks kind of silly and redundant, right? But my pocket contained wallet. I could fix the syntax or the grammar here. That's problematic, but it works and your purse is empty. And now I have my return button, which is which I've located. It's not on this page, on the other page, and I should go back to history's last. There it is. That's where I was. I find a photo and a driver's license. I didn't do driver's license. I did photo. So I'll click photo. Photo looks like a neighbor you have seen around town. You also see a coupon for peanut butter. And now down here, I still have inventory too as an empty data set because I was going to do the money with that. You found some money. But now I have a wallet. It's telling me what I have in there, a photo and a coupon. So that's working. So if I go to check items, it's clean down here. Your pocket contains, it's bugging me, wallet. And notice the spacing. Oh, another wallet. I put it in there twice. I shouldn't have that on the second screen. A photo, a coupon. Okay, hi. I wanted to insert this as an addendum to make sure that we could solve one of the issues with creating an array where you're finding stuff and you're checking inventory. And what I've done here is in my my footer, I've added an extra passage here, where before I just had an if names item, do nothing, else check items would appear. But I created a something new here, else if passages tags contains no inv, which is short for no inventory, do nothing. So I'm creating a tag. That tag's going to be no inv. And the reason I'm doing this is I want the inventory to only show up in some passages. And the reason for that is, I will show you right now. But as I do that, first I'll show here in the found, I have created the no inv tag. So when I go to found, I will, and there's some extra stuff here we won't worry about that I was just playing with. The inventory sheet won't show up here. All right. It will, however, show up in photo. I am later going to put a no inv tag there also, and I'll explain why. So if we do a run through, set on begin, you're walking around, you see a wallet and some money. Now I can check items and my pockets are empty. I have the inventory there just kind of as a check. There's nothing there. I can keep checking my items. Everything's empty. Let's say I pick up the wallet. Because I have that over here, the no inv tag on found, which is where I find my wallet, right? You decide to pick up the wallet, look inside, you find your wallet, and I have this set tag here on found that says, now you have the wallet. So the reason I did that is, you'll see right now, if I go to photo, I click photo, it says the photo looks like a neighbor you have seen around. You'll see a coupon for peanut butter. I can check my items. I should have a wallet. I should have a photo, and I should have a coupon for peanut butter, because those are the things I've seen. Contain a wallet, a photo, and a coupon. All right, my purse is empty, so I can go back now. So I go back, and let's say I'm here. I'm like, oh wait, what did I have? I go check items. And now I have wallet, photo, coupon. So what it's done is it has returned to that passage. I could keep doing this. I'm going to keep getting a photo and coupon over and over and over. Not the wallet. The reason is, in the photo panel, I have my set condition says add a photo and a coupon. So each time I go to check inventory and then come back to photo and photo, I get another photo and coupon. So if I keep going back to my check inventory, I'm going to keep adding a photo and coupon, because this is what it's saying. It's saying set it. So it's adding this every time I come back. So what I did with the found tag is I added the no inv tag, so that way they can't go checking. The photo, what I should do too is also set the tag to no inv and add that. And now if I play it, I'm also going to do this, what about the money? That way I can get to the money tag several different ways, or the money passage. So if I play it, walking around, see, check items, it's not going to have anything. Go to the wallet, can't check anything. Find a photo. Okay, now I can't check anything. What about the money? Go to the money, and you find a $10 bill on the ground. Well, now I'm not sure of everything that I have, so I'm going to check my items. Items, wallet, photo, and a coupon. Okay. Now I didn't add the $10 to my array yet, but I can keep doing that. And if I check my items, it's not going to add anything because within money down here, there is no set for an array. So what I'm doing here is I am anywhere I can pick up items, a little different with the money here. Anywhere I can pick up items, I'm not allowing them to check inventory. But where technically I can't pick up items, you can check your inventory. And that way, when you return, you won't go back and keep collecting the things there. So that's a little addendum I wanted to add. It's another way to use tags to think about what is shown and what is not shown. I hope that helps. Thanks.